Rome ruled the world through its legions, but its power was also secured by whispers in the dark, a vast, invisible network of agents, informants, and assassins, operating in the shadows to protect the empire from its enemies, both foreign and domestic. This was the secret world of Rome's spies. Unlike the battlefield, this war was fought with information, knowing an enemy's plans before they were executed, understanding the weaknesses of a rival politician, uncovering a brewing rebellion before it ignited. These were the keys to power in the hidden empire of intelligence. Our story begins not with a clash of swords, but with a coded message, hastily written on wax tablet and smuggled across borders by a trusted courier. It speaks of troop movements, secret alliances, and the ambitions of men who plotted against Rome. This information is the lifeblood of the Frumentarii, the first known organized intelligence service of the Roman Empire. Originally, the Frumentarii were responsible for procuring grain for the legions, hence their name from frumentum, meaning grain. But their extensive travel across the empire, their access to military logistics, and their ability to blend in with local populations made them ideal gatherers of intelligence. Under emperors like Hadrian, their role expanded dramatically. They became the emperor's eyes and ears, reporting directly on the activities of governors, senators, and even high-ranking military officials. Their methods were varied and often ruthless. They cultivated informants in every level of society, from slaves and merchants to disgruntled soldiers and ambitious politicians. They intercepted messages, bribed officials, and spread disinformation to confuse and manipulate Rome's enemies. Their loyalty was solely to the emperor, making them a powerful and often feared force within Roman society itself. But the Frumentarii were just one part of Rome's shadowy apparatus. There were also specialized agents, often operating independently. The speculators, for example, were originally military scouts, but their skills in reconnaissance and infiltration were invaluable for espionage. They were known for their ability to move undetected and gather first-hand intelligence in hostile territory. And then there were the assassins, the most feared and least spoken of element of Rome's secret world. These were individual skill in the art of silent killing, employed to eliminate threats that could not be dealt with openly. Their existence was a closely guarded secret, their actions shrouded in rumor and fear. A sudden, unexplained death of a troublesome rival, a foreign leader who mysteriously fell ill. Whispers often pointed to Rome's invisible hand at work. The life of a Roman spy was one of constant danger and secrecy. They lived double lives, their true identities hidden beneath layers of deception. One wrong word, one slip-up, could mean torture and a gruesome death. Yet, their work was essential to maintaining Rome's vast empire. They were the unsung heroes and the unseen villains of their time, shaping the course of history from the shadows. Who were the individuals who chose, or were chosen for, the perilous life of a Roman spy? They came from all walks of life, their common thread being their discretion, intelligence, and often a willingness to operate outside the bounds of Roman law. The Frumentarii often recruited from the ranks of legionary veterans. These men were disciplined, resourceful, and had experience navigating unfamiliar territories. Their military training provided a solid foundation in logistics, observation, and even basic cryptography. Their loyalty, presumably forged in service to Rome, was considered a valuable asset. Although the allure of imperial favor and financial reward was undoubtedly a powerful motivator, language skills were highly prized. An agent who could seamlessly blend into a foreign culture, understand local dialects, and eavesdrop on conversations without raising suspicion was worth their weight in gold. This meant that many Frumentarii were recruited from the border regions of the empire, where contact with different cultures was commonplace. For more specialized tasks, particularly infiltration and assassination, individuals with unique skills were sought out. Former criminals, freed slaves with underworld connections, even disillusioned members of foreign royal courts could find themselves recruited into Rome's secret service. Their motivations varied. Some sought redemption or a chance at a better life, while others were simply coerced through blackmail or the promise of wealth. Training for these clandestine operatives was rigorous and multifaceted. They were taught how to encode and decode messages using simple ciphers. They mastered the art of disguise, learning to convincingly portray different social classes and professions. They practiced blending into crowds, moving undetected, and establishing and maintaining cover identities. Physical skills were also paramount. Agents needed to be agile, capable of defending themselves in tight situations, and skilled in various forms of hand-to-hand combat. For assassins, training in the use of poisons and silent weapons like the Sika short, curved dagger was essential. Living under constant threat of discovery was a significant psychological burden. Roman spies had to be masters of deception, not just to their targets, but also to their own families and communities. Maintaining a false identity required unwavering commitment and the constant fear of a single slip-up that could expose them to torture and execution. The risks were immense if caught by enemy forces. A Roman spy could expect brutal interrogation to extract information, followed by a gruesome public death designed to deter others. Even within Roman territory, exposure as an agent could lead to suspicion and social ostracism, as their work often involved morally ambiguous actions and dealings with unsavory characters. Despite the dangers, the rewards could be significant. Successful agents could earn wealth, influence, and the gratitude of the emperor himself. Their work, though unseen, played a crucial role in maintaining the stability and power of the Roman Empire, making them indispensable, if shadowy, figures. In its history, the Roman spy did not rely on advanced technology. His tradecraft was a subtle art, a mastery of human psychology, deception, and, when necessary, silent violence. The tools they used were as simple as they were effective. Information was gathered through a network of deleterious informants. These were not professional spies, but ordinary people coaxed or coerced into providing information. A disgruntled slave could report on his master's private conversations. A tavern keeper could overhear the loose talk of foreign dignitaries. A merchant's business travels could provide valuable intelligence on troop movements or economic conditions in a rival kingdom. The spy's primary skill was cultivating and managing this web of whispers. Clandestine communication was a constant challenge. Messages were often written on small, easily concealable materials like papyrus or even thin lead sheets. They were then hidden in plain sight, sewn into the lining of a cloak, concealed within a hollowed-out piece of bread, or tucked into the harness of a pack animal. Simple ciphers, like substituting letters or using a keyword, were common, providing a basic layer of security. Disinformation was one of their most powerful weapons. A Roman agent might deliberately leak false military plans to an enemy general, causing him to move his troops into a prepared ambush. They could spread rumors to sow dissent among rival factions, or to damage the reputation of a political opponent back in Rome. By manipulating what their enemies believed to be true, they could win battles without a single legionary drawing his sword. When information wasn't enough, sabotage became an option. An agent could discreetly damage enemy siege equipment, poison a crucial water supply, or start a fire in a military granary on the eve of a campaign. These acts of disruption could cripple an enemy's ability to wage war, all achieved by a single, unseen operative. And then there was the final, darkest tool, assassination. This was a last resort, reserved for high-value targets whose removal was critical to Roman interests. Poison was a favored method, subtle, difficult to trace, and often disguised as a sudden illness. A skilled agent knew which plants and minerals to use, how to administer the dose, and how to disappear before the effects took hold. For more direct encounters, the Sika, a small, easily concealed curved dagger, was the weapon of choice, perfect for a quick, silent strike in a crowded street or a dark corridor. The Roman spy was a master of exploiting human weakness. He understood that greed, fear, ambition, and jealousy were more effective keys for unlocking secrets than any physical tool. By weaving together a network of informants, manipulating information, and applying precise, targeted violence, these invisible agents protected the empire by fighting a war that was never officially declared. The world of shadows is a dangerous game, and its players often meet violent ends. The very secrecy that protected a Roman spy also made them expendable. The assassination of Quintus Sertorius in Spain, betrayed and murdered at a banquet by his own discontented officers, served as a timeless lesson in the world of espionage. The greatest threat often comes from within your own circle, but the successes of this secret war shaped history. The intelligence gathered by Caesar's speculators in Gaul allowed him to divide and conquer the tribes with ruthless efficiency. During the chaotic era of the four emperors, rival claimants used their own networks of spies to plot, scheme, and assassinate their way toward the throne, proving that information was as valuable as any legion. However, the power of these secret services, particularly the Frumentarii, began to grow unchecked. They evolved from an intelligence agency into something far more sinister, a secret police force. Their mandate to protect the emperor became an excuse to spy on everyone. They used blackmail, intimidation, and fabricated charges to eliminate personal enemies and enrich themselves. The emperor's eyes and ears had become a web of terror that ensnared innocent citizens and powerful senators alike. The fear and hatred of the Frumentarii grew so intense that they became a liability to the very state they were meant to protect. The double-edged dagger had turned back on its master. Finally, in the late 3rd century AD, Emperor Diocletian, in a sweeping series of reforms, officially disbanded the Frumentarii. Their reign of terror was over. But the need for intelligence did not vanish. The state cannot exist without its secrets. Diocletian soon replaced them with a new, more centrally controlled organization, the Agenes and Rebus, the agents on affairs. The game simply continued with new players. The legacy of Rome's invisible assassins is a complex one. They were the silent guardians who uncovered plots and secured the frontiers. They were also the instruments of tyranny, the thugs and spies who enforced an emperor's will through fear. They operated in the moral gray area where the security of the many is paid for by the dark deeds of a few. The grand facade of Rome empowered the marble temples, the triumphant arches. The disciplined legions was built on a hidden foundation, a foundation of whispers, secrets, and betrayal. The dagger in the dark was as vital to the story of Rome as the sword in the sun.
We have seen the hidden hands that shaped Rome from the shadows. Now we journey to a land of golden deserts and ancient mysteries, to witness the desperate struggle of a queen against the rising tide of empire. She was the last of her line, a ruler of breathtaking intelligence and legendary beauty. She charmed emperors, commanded armies, and dreamed of an Egypt that could stand against the might of Rome. But the sands of time were running out. Her kingdom was fading, her alliances fragile, and the gaze of a hungry Rome was fixed firmly upon her throne. Next time, prepare to be swept away by a tale of ambition, passion, and the final, tragic battle for a world on the brink of collapse. The story of the last pharaoh. Subscribe now, and witness the fall of an empire in the sands of Egypt.